Hi boys and girls. So unfortunately I am making this video after grading your tests, and I gotta say there are some of you who I am proud of, but overall I am quite disappointed in these grades. I expected much better of you. I know you are all capable of much better, and we gotta figure out what is wrong here. We have to fix it together. There were a lot of you who were not showing your work the way I showed you in class. We took those notes, we took those foldables, every single video, everything I've done, I always stacked every single one of my numbers, and I drew those lines after I converted them to a decimal. And so many of you do not do that. So from now on, if there's something I am teaching you in class, I highly suggest that you follow that same procedure unless you know for a fact that you have a better way to do it. And I would double check that way with me first. Okay? I expect more from you. I'm going to keep holding high standards. I am not giving up on any of you. We're going to work through this. All right. So first, I want to give a shout out, or I should say second, I'm going to give a shout out to Leilani for being the first one to notice that I got my hair cut. So thank you for noticing that. So we're starting our new unit, Unit 2, and we're talking about looking at different kinds of data. So in class today, we talked about measures of central tendency. Mean, median, mode, and range. So what we're doing is we're starting this new thing called the mean, absolute, deviation. Okay, and we know what mean is. We talked about the mean, and that's kind of the average. Okay, the average middle. Absolute. Absolute is the same thing as the absolute value, which I'm going to talk about in 5 seconds. And then deviation. If something is deviating, like deviates from the norm, kind of like how far away is it? How spread out is it? So mean absolute deviation, or MAD for short, is a measure of spread. Measure of spread. It measures how far away from the mean are these numbers. The bigger the MAD, the more spread out they are. The smaller the MAD, the less spread out. All right, so absolute value. Absolute value is the positive distance a number is from 0. So if we have the absolute value of 6, and we use these little bars here. Well, if we had a number line, here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How far away from 0 is 6? Yes, it's 6 away, so the absolute value of 6 is equal to 6. What if I did the absolute value of negative 6? Well, we've got the same thing here, only it's on the opposite side of the number line. So the absolute value of negative 6 is also positive 6. If I were to tell you to walk negative 6 steps, what would most of you do? You'd probably walk backwards. The negative just tells us the direction. Negative does not give us any more information than the direction. So the absolute value is that's the value. How far, how much is it actually? So that's what we need to use here for the mean. Absolute, we need to have positive values, and how far away from the mean are they? So the distance from the mean, but just that positive value. Okay, so I just want you to practice finding some absolute values for me here. So these should be super easy grade for your homework grade for this week. So it's the absolute value of 61, absolute value of negative 14. That's what they remember. These bars mean absolute value of negative 99. And then the absolute value of, that's not what I wanted, absolute value of, let's say, 52.71. Okay, well, let's do one more. Absolute value of negative 17.93. So give me the absolute value of each of those 5 numbers. You can submit it, please. Don't forget. All right, so MAD, we're going to do some examples, well, lots of examples, lots of things in class. But what I'm going to be giving is I'm going to be giving you a table that's going to look like this, okay? And this table is the way that we can organize our information. So let's say we were given the data points, for example, let's just say we had 3, 5, 17, 8, 9, okay? You would have to find the mean of these. So you would take these numbers, add them up, divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and get the mean. So the mean here is 8.4. So you would have 8.4 written all the way down. So you have your data, and your first step is to find the mean. Difference, the distance of the data from the mean. We're always going to do the mean minus the data. So you would do 8.4 minus 3, 8.4 minus 5. All right, so I went ahead and subtracted them here for you. I ignored this. You're going to have all of that written in the difference column, and I'm going to add on another column here. You'll make all of them that take the absolute value. Just make them all positive. So 5.4, 3.4, positive 8.6, 0.4, and positive 0.6. So how far away is it from the mean? Then sum means how many numbers did we have? I'm sorry, count is how many numbers did we have. Sum, add all these numbers up again. So now you're going to add these 5 numbers together. So we get 18.4. That's really sloppy, I'm sorry. 18.4. Now you find the mean again by doing 18.4 divided by 5. And our MAD is 3.68. Now that's a relatively small number. So the average distance between each data point and the mean is 3.68. So the numbers are fairly close together. It's a measure of spread. So the little riddle we use to help remember is don't get mad, get glad. The G stands for get the mean. L is let's subtract. And it's the mean minus the data. A is the absolute value. And D is do the mean again. So don't get mad, get glad. As you walk in tomorrow, just tell me that. Don't get mad, get glad. Make sure you answer those 5 problems. Have a good night.